Hi, everyone. It is your 15-minute daily dose of yoga. We are going to incorporate breath work, meditation, and movement all together. That's all yoga is the combination of all of those techniques and exercises to master your mind and your entire system. Here we go. You can start by doing this on a chair or seated on the floor. So I'm going to sit on the floor. You do not need a yoga mat. I have one, but you do not need one. If you have a pillow, a book, you can place it underneath your butt bones to sit. It's a little bit easier to sit nice and tall with the spine, which, as you know, is a priority. But if you'd like to do this in the chair, the same rules apply. Grounded feet, nice tall spine, hand behind the head, press the head back so you're extending the spine, hand on top of the head up, shoulders back. Let's start with our breath work. Breathing through the nose, starting way low in the belly. You can even put your hand on your belt area. Take a giant inhale from the bottom up, inflating the ribs all the way up to the chest without lifting the shoulders. Take a pause and a slow, even exhale from the top down. We're going to count as we do this. We're going to take a slow 3 count to bring the air in and up. Almost feel like you're inhaling to the crown of the head. It's almost like swirling at the crown of the head, and a very slow descent down for a count of 5, evenly exhaling the whole time. Inhaling for 3. Let's pause for 2. And exhaling for 5. And as you exhale, you actually get taller, more aware, jaw relaxed, awareness heightened. And I'm going to put on my timer, and we are going to do this for 3 minutes, 3 minutes only. And as you do this, notice if your mind starts to wander, which is normal and natural. We just watch it happen. And we bring it back to the technique. Keep going on your own now, making the breath deeper, longer, wider, slower as time goes on. And what's happening here as we're doing this is that we are sending a signal, a message to the nervous system that it is safe and it is in a place where recovery is possible. Sometimes it's hard to do that with just forcing it with the mind, like, I'm okay, I'm okay. Those mental messages are important, and we use that phrasing a lot in our technique, but actually pressing the button on the calming effect of your nervous system is extremely effective. It may not feel so at first after you take 3 breaths. That's why we ask you to do it for at least 3 minutes. So you actually give yourself a chance for your nervous system to feel the effects. My eyes are closed, but your eyes do not have to be closed. Open is fine, but let's make sure we're focused on one still point. You're about halfway there. You don't have to stick to 3, 2, 5. You could even try extending it. Maybe you'd even get to 6, 4, 10. All we're looking for is a slight retainment of the breath between inhale and exhale, and a pause after exhale, and that the exhale is longer than the inhale. So for the last minute here, I will be quiet and just listen to the rhythm of your own breathing. Has your mind wandered? We are going to release the counting of our breath, but we're going to keep the manipulation of the breathing going, and we're going to add movement. So you can do this again in a chair or seated. Place your hands firmly on your thighs, and as you inhale, lift the chest and shoulders down, so you're extending the spine. And then as you exhale, round the spine and let the chin fall towards the chest and the head being heavy. There is not going to be a time in yoga where the shoulders lifting are part of it, unless we're doing like a lift and a release or a shoulder roll. But at no time are you going to use the shoulders for strength. So it's all about extending the vertebrae and opening up the front of the body, and then flexion of the vertebrae, and the chin releases and the shoulders are heavy. Try 2 more. And if you feel like it, which I always do, I like to include the jaw. So I open my jaw really wide. I stick out my tongue like a lion, because there's so many muscles in the face and we tend to forget about it, so we don't look silly, right, by moving the face around. And then as you exhale, squish the face like you just tasted a lemon. But you'll find it so good for releasing stored tension. All right, from here, let's come back to sitting nice and tall. We're going to place the right hand on the left knee, or the thigh, or the hip, or whatever it'll reach. You can cross the body. So we're doing a little bit of a twist here. And now we're going to lower the right ear to the right shoulder. And I'm kind of taking my left hand and reaching it behind me, even though it's not touching the floor. So we're opening up the left side of the neck and the head and the face. We're not pushing the head down. We're letting the weight of the head release towards the shoulder like a bowling ball. This gives a little bit more leverage to the twist and to the extension of the neck and the side of the neck by twisting your body and holding your right knee. If this isn't working for you, you can, of course, do it straight on without the twist. Chin to the right shoulder. Breathing in the back of the neck. If you did this practice every day, several times a week, how much you could get in, you'd be set, because you're breathing, you're moving, we're meditating. All right, let's have the chin towards the chest. Bring your arms back to center. Left hand to the thigh or the knee or the armrest, whatever it will reach. And then turn the left ear towards the left shoulder, reaching the right arm behind you. Notice all the places in your body that are fighting you, that are feeling strained or stiff, and don't push against them. Instead, think of creating mobility as releasing rather than pushing or pulling. Chin to the left shoulder. Jaw relaxed. So all the fundamentals still apply no matter what type of movement we're doing. The alignment, the breath, all of those things are still part of this. All right, let's take the chin to the chest, arms back facing forward, and inhale, lift the chin off the chest. And let's come to an all fours tabletop position. I will move my mat sideways so it's easier for you to see me. The hands and the wrists are coming right underneath the shoulders, and the knees are going to be right underneath the hips. So you're making a 90-degree angle. Splay the fingers out, press all 10 toenails down to the floor. This keeps the practice very intentional. Same thing we did while we were seated. We're going to inhale the entire spine into an extension, and we're going to exhale, press against the floor and round the spine, dropping the head. Inhale, extend. You can add the opening of the mouth and tongue if that felt good. Squishing the face as you round. I'm going to have you do this for 5 more breaths, and I'd like you to move in any way that feels good. So you can move the head and neck in circles. You can twist the spine. You can look behind the shoulders. You can move the hips around. You can move the whole body around, opening up the wrists and the joints. You can even tuck your toes and bring your sit bones back on your heels for a foot and toe stretch. There's so much stress and stress hormones caught in those tissues around the feet and the ankles and the toes that You need to breathe into those two. One more big breath. Back to an all fours position, half downward facing dog. So the hips are going to stay above the knees. We're keeping the 90-degree angle. You will tip your hips forward, sending your sit bones up towards the sky. Walk your hands forward. And guys, be sure to not be taking your hips with you. I see this a lot in my classes. Hips stay back, arms stay forward, like someone's pulling your hips towards the sky, pulling your wrists forward. And all you do is relax your forehead and chest towards the floor. You'll feel a really deep opening in the shoulders and the chest. If your head doesn't touch the floor, you can grab something and place it underneath your forehead. If one of your shoulders cannot go into the extension, you can take one arm back and just do the shoulder that can do this movement. So there's so much scalability, so many options. Now press down on the tops of the feet and the toenails to secure the lower body and give me 3 big breaths. This is called half downward facing dog. Great alternative if you are not in the space to do a full downward facing dog. Try to pull the navel in though, so we're not sitting in the low back. Great. From here, walk yourself up to all fours. Now we are going to move the pelvis forward. So I'm going to walk my hands forward and I'm going to move my pelvis towards the floor. Do you see now how I'm in one line from my knees, hips, shoulders, and head, as opposed to tabletop? So I'm moving my pelvis down, lifting my chest forward, hands are underneath the shoulders. Take a deep inhale, and now on a slow 5 count exhale, the elbows squeeze in towards the ribs, the shoulders stay down, and you're going to imagine the chest is being pulled forward towards the floor. It looks like this. Inhale, exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you give it a try, or if you just did it with me, let's do it again. Inhale, exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Put the elbows forward underneath the shoulders. Blade the fingers out, blade the toes out. Anything that's touching the floor. This is called Sphinx pose. Press it down. Lift the navel up, pull the shoulder blades together, lift the collarbones. Navel is lifting off the floor to protect the low back. Very often, in fact, most commonly, the front of the body is very tight and the back of the body is very weak from sitting in front of monitors, from driving, from texting. So this might not feel totally comfortable, or maybe it's a hurt so good. Let's stay here for 5 slow, deep breaths. Feel free to incorporate the counting of the breath if that helped you focus your mind. I also noticed that about a minute ago I said excellent, as if I could see you. It's one of my pet peeves of yoga videos when the teacher says that, and I fell into that trap. Well, maybe you're doing an excellent job of just sitting on the couch and watching me. All right, we're going to do a little exercise here. Walk the arms out in front of you. You can watch me first if you like. I'm going to place the forehead down. I'm strengthening my legs. I'm going to use back muscles to lift my chest up and slide my hands in. So I inhale and I imagine my hands are moving forward. My feet are moving back. Exhale. And on the next inhale, I slide my hands towards the mat and I use back muscles to lift up my upper chest. It's going to be a very, very little movement. Exhale down to the floor. Inhale, slide hands back. Are your shoulders up by your ears? Slide them down too, so you feel the muscles that are on either side of the spine begin to burn. Let's do 3 more. Inhale, pull it back. Strong legs, shoulders down, chest lifted, back muscles burning. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Now stay here with your chest lifted. Pull the legs together so your big toes are touching. And keep the chest lifted, but lift each hand and place it towards the waist Elbows pointing towards the floor. This is baby cobra. How's your breathing? Inhale. Feel the belly expand against the floor. Exhale, all fours. Round the spine. Release it. Back to a tabletop position. Let's tuck the toes, brief downward facing dog. We lift the butt up into the air and back behind us as the chest bone moves towards the knees. My knees are staying bent here so I don't sacrifice the alignment of my spine, but you can experiment with lengthening one leg and then the other to open up the backs of the legs. Let's walk the feet forward towards the hands. So we are in a forward fold over our legs. You can stay here for a minute. Bent legs is totally fine. Heavy head, maybe even take hold of opposite elbows. And let the arms be heavy. And we're gonna roll up the spine, one vertebrae at a time, like a massage. And when you get to the top, shoulder roll, feet firmly placed on the floor. Let's do one sun breath. So we inhale, lift the arms up, reach, reach, reach. Exhale, pull the elbows down and lift the chest. It's the same position when we were lying on the floor in the baby cobra position. The chest is lifted and we're squeezing the shoulder blades. Keep the chest lifted, reach the arms back up again. Exhale, forward fold. All the way down, bending the knees is totally fine. Hands to thighs, press the feet down, the thighs back, the chest forward, ignite the muscles in the body to extend the spine, and walk the hands back down the legs to a forward fold. Inhale, this time we're gonna reverse a swan dive instead of rolling up. Take the arms out to the side like wings, lead from the chest, reach up, stretch up towards the ceiling, big inhale, slow exhale as you take the arms by your side. And when the arms land by your side, instead of touching your shirt, looking around, checking your watch, give me one purposeful breath. From here, we're gonna make our way to the floor, going through a squat position. Squat, you can do seated by coming to the edge of your chair, opening up your thigh bone so your knees are pointing to the opposite side. You can take your hands to your thighs and gently start to push them back so the knees and the toes stay in alignment. You can stay here seated so that I would be sitting on the chair, or I'm doing this without the chair like I'm doing now. If you have more capacity today in your hips, you might choose to go all the way down to a squat. You can take your hands on your thighs, pushing the knees back so they're over the toes. You can take warrior grip. Give me one more breath here. And sitting all the way down. Right thigh to the inside, right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Take your hands back behind you so your spine is nice and long. It looks like this from the side. And give me 3 breaths here. If you have the capacity, you can take your hands forward without sacrificing the spine and rounding and pulling. And then let's take the other side, right leg out, left foot in. Start with the hands back so you really feel the extension of the spine. Notice that my right toes are facing the ceiling and my foot is flexed. And that's because my mind is constantly aware of the position of my body and how I'm breathing. If your hands are forward, a trick here is to push against the floor, which helps you extend your spine. And here we are, finding ourselves back on the floor like how we started, in a seated position. You can return to the chair. You can even lie down for this. We just did moving meditation. Now we're going to do seated meditation. Just a minute or so of using our measured breath. And as you inhale, the meditation object is, I am here. Silently, here is safe. On repeat. And use this as your anchor to watch the mind and how it dances around your anchor, and then bringing it back to that grounded meditation object. All right, I have my eye on the timer. Here we go, just a minute or so. I am here. Here is safe. Any worries, any concerns, place them next to you and you can pick them up after this practice. But give yourself the mental vacation so you can have space to handle those hardships and challenges. If you would like to continue with this meditation, feel free to continue breathing and repeating your meditation phrase. If that's all the time that you have for today, if your eyes were closed, you can flutter them open, you can roll your shoulders, come back to us. For your homework video on the app Cyber Academy, we have a 20-minute daily practice, and that up levels, especially the physical movement. So maybe try this daily practice for a while, incorporate the 20-minute one eventually, and then you can trade off depending on what your body, your mind needs that day. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you've enjoyed this 15-minute daily practice.